Digital recording is great because it puts out exactly what you put in. The downside is that it puts out exactly what you put in. And if you don't have some engineering skills, what you get out might not be all that pretty. If you're like many home musicians, there's a good chance you just want to play and have it sound good. PreSonus might just have what you're looking for. Now, I just got my hands on a pair of brand new interfaces from PreSonus. The Quantum ES2, which is the desktop 2-channel model, and the HD8, the 8-channel version. So what sets these apart from everything else? Well, for starters, the DI for guitars was created in conjunction with Fender, and the HD8 has a reamping output. Okay, now I'm interested. Let's grab the unboxing table and see what we get. Now, I haven't even taken these things out of the box yet. I just got them out of the shipping crate, but let's see what this is all about. We got the Quantum ES2. Obviously, this is their version of the 2-channel recording interface. This is $229 at Sweetwater. You know, pretty reasonable price for a dual channel interface. Yeah, and it's nicely wrapped. It's actually fairly light. Look at that, wow. Oh, hey, we got a little handwritten note.
Dear Glenn, don't give us a review or we will sue you.
I'm just teasing. This actually says,
hello Glenn, these units were updated by your friendly neighborhood QA guy.
Awesome. So they probably already have the new firmware on them. That's fucking cool. Thank you, PreSonus. I really appreciate that. So we get a USB-C cable. Very cool. I love USB-C. Am I not the only guy out there that loves USB-C? I mean, like, how many of you came up on the regular USB, you know, where you got to insert it 3 times before it actually works? Try it one way, try it the other way, and then try it the first way, and then suddenly it works again. Who thought that was a good design? I sure didn't. All right, so we've got, you know, the usual bullshit here, manuals and whatnot. So this is what we're actually after right here. Ooh, that is slick. Look at that. That's pretty. Wow. I gotta say, you know, that kind of sits on the desktop just slightly angled. Ooh, we got a push button. 48 volts, that's obviously for fan power. Oh, this looks like auto, so that's probably gonna be auto gain. We're gonna check that out in just a minute and see what's up. We got a 1, 2. Okay, so even the bass players can count that high. Fantastic. I'm guessing that's for setting levels and whatnot. And what do we got here? Stop, download universal control from mypresonus.com. No, but what if I don't want to? Looks like we got guitar input, headphone output, and then on the back here, we got 2 combo jacks for mic or line level, and here's our main outputs. Oh, we've got a MIDI connector, but that's using mini jacks for MIDI. I've never seen those before. I don't think there's any kind of adapter for this either, so that's probably something you're gonna have to order third party. Yeah, I'm not feeling anything in the box here. We've got a mute button here, main, and then headphones. So this is obviously for controlling the various levels. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward stuff. I love the fact that it's got some no skid rubber here. So this is just gonna sit exactly where you leave it on your table. That's great. Plug in, away you go. Yeah, dead simple, does the thing. We're gonna crank it up here in just a sec. We're gonna hook this up to my laptop and try running some guitar amp sims through it and see what we get. We'll shift over to the other room in just a minute. And here's the one I was really looking forward to, and that's the Quantum HD8. Look at that. Wow, I've been dying to check this out. This has just been sitting over in my drum room for the last week or two. Play with me, Glenn, play with me. Yeah, so here we are. What it says on the back here, we got universal control app. Okay, apparently this is the thing to get with the PreSonus thing. Best in class performance, custom low latency drivers, and low noise conversion. Okay, great. That sounds fantastic. Next gen preamps. Okay, everybody goes on and on and on about the preamps. I think we figured out the clean preamp thing about 15 years ago, guys. It's really nothing special at this point. Co-developed with Fender, front-facing instrument inputs engineered for guitars. That's cool. Okay, great. Auto gain, dial and recording ready levels, hassle-free. I love that. That just makes things so much easier. Reamp outputs. Reamp audio directly from your DAW and use the amps and effects to sculpt your sounds. Okay, now you guys know I am a gigantic fan of reamping. It's what I use to bust so many guitar myths, because when you can leave the performance the same, suddenly all the mysteries about guitar tones tend to vanish into thin air because they're just basically hot air. So let's see what we got here. Let's take a look. Not too bad weight, and of course we've got drivers and all that kind of stuff. Power. Oh, looks like this is a serious MIDI connector on this one. It looks like an almost old school VGA style connector. And then we've got our MIDI connections and then some RCAs as well. So that's pretty cool. They include that. Great. We don't have to buy that extra. And then we've got USB-C. Cool. And of course, IEC power. So let's take a look at the unit itself. Hey, Beavis. He said unit. Okay, wow. This looks like a serious piece of kit. Look at this. Damn. 2 ins, 2 outs for guitar. So this is obviously your guitar inputs, and then there's your reamp outputs. Very cool indeed. I can't wait to try these out. I'm gonna warn the PreSonus guys, I'm a big stickler when it comes to reamp boxes. So many have promised so much over the years and failed utterly. There's only one reamp box I work with, but I've yet to try yours, so we'll see what it's all about. Anyway, looks like we've got level controls for the inputs right on the front of the interface. That is super cool. Select, dial, select, okay, that's That's super sweet. We got our 48 volts, auto gain, main output, headphone, just like the smaller interface, and 2 headphone outs right at the front. That is super cool. And on the back, and this is where it really cuts. Whoa! Okay, damn. I'm kind of impressed. This has not one set of ADAT connectors, but 2. That's super cool. So you could add an extra 16 inputs or an extra 8 if you're running 96K. And on the Neve here, I'm running 96K, and I've been kind of dreading making this video because it's like, I don't want to try hooking this thing up to the Neve. It's just, it took me forever to get this hooked up, so I'm not going to do that, but I am going to test the reamps and a couple other things with it. We'll do some outboard processing with it. I got a couple dropper compressors kicking around we can use, and I'm going to run it all off my laptop in the other room because I think it's just going to be way easier. But looks like we've got 8 line outs. Oh, that's freaking cool. We've got 10 outputs. So 1 and 2 are our mains, then 3 to 10 are your extra outputs. So if you actually wanted to go to the board and mix through the board, you could literally do that. That's actually pretty fucking cool. We've got 8 mic line ins. Okay, we've got our guitar ins at the front as well. I don't know if that's 10 ins total or just 8 with the shared ones. I'll have to look at that in a second. But yeah, it looks pretty standard. Got a word clock as well. So if we want to hook a couple different units up together, we can do that and maintain sync. But I gotta say, the most impressive thing is the fact that we've got 2 ADAT connectors here on the back. That is just simply awesome. Good job, PreSonus, on that. Anyway, I'm gonna get this thing configured. I'm gonna get it hooked up and we're gonna take it for a spin right now. Now this is a typical desktop situation. I've got a MacBook Air. This thing's phenomenal for running pro audio. I can even edit 4K video on this. I've got a desktop mic and I've got the interface. The only thing that's not typical is this giant tripod here, but I figured it's pretty important that I show you what's going on with the auto gain settings on this. This is great. You just hit a couple of buttons, talk, and away you go. Check this out. So I'm gonna select mic 2 here. We're gonna turn on phantom power, and I'm gonna hit the auto button here. And what this is gonna do is it's going to get me a mic level, hopefully, fingers crossed. And you can see it, it's just dialing things in a little bit right now, and let's see what it does. And boom, that's it, we're set. I don't have to touch anything else. It just did it itself. Oh man, could I ever use this back in like 1998 when I started this stuff? And you can see just on the screen capture here, we've got it going as well. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm after. Now, one of the places where so many small interfaces have fallen flat over the years is with the guitar DI. Focusrite had a big issue with their Mark I and Mark II Scarlett series. Even the Neve 88M didn't have enough headroom. I'm like, when a lot of companies think guitar DIs, they're thinking guys playing Eric Clapton riffs. They're not thinking guys playing Carcass and In Flames, you know, the guys with the super high output pickups. Usually there's a problem with not enough headroom. So what we're gonna do here is we got a Bogren amp knob ready to go, and I got a solar guitar here. So what I'm gonna do is I've just got this into input 1. I'm gonna click on that, and we're gonna hit auto gain, and we're gonna chug and see what happens. Okay, that was actually super cool. That dialed that in, no problem whatsoever. It got me a good solid level without anything clipping. You saw it just dial it back there. That was great. And I gotta say, the DI I thought sounded pretty good. Now, if you didn't like that guitar sound, don't blame me. Blame Jens Bogren, because that's Amp Knob Rev C, his plugin, not mine. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The reason I'm on headphones here is because so many of you guys out there don't have monitors and are gonna be working with headphones as well. I figured, hey, let's see what's got. This definitely delivers the goods in terms of volume. Just remember, guys, if you're working with headphones all day, don't keep it cranked all day because you're going to run into problems with your hearing. Now, the one feature I didn't want to miss on this is the loopback function. It's got 2 separate loopbacks. I got loopback 1 here. That was for the guitars, and I got loopback 2, and this is for the microphone. And this is really important when you're doing screencasts, but it's also important if you're doing streaming, say with OBS or whatnot. Getting a sound from your mic to go out to a stream can be a bit of a pain in the neck, and using loopback will make that functionality that much simpler. The fact it's built right in like that, that's a big win. So I gotta say, good job, PreSonus, on the little guy. Want to make a note here, I do have the Studio One software, and the ES2 does come with a limited copy for that, and it looks like a really cool system. I've done some mixing on it before. I was very impressed, but truth be told, my shooting schedule is so tight, I just don't have time to learn another DAW at the moment. But Studio One is probably something I'm gonna want to dive into on a dedicated video in the very near future, because I think it's got some cool features that I need to take a look at. Now, what's really got me excited though is the HD8. I want to get this thing hooked up, put it through its paces, and see if it can deliver the goods on the reamping, because that's always been one place where so many interfaces have fallen flat. let's check it out. Let's see what it can do. Now, I need to get set up here to demo the HD8, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I got this giant console. I don't think I'm going to go into that because I don't have like 3 days to disconnect everything and then rehook it back up and everything just to demo this. So I thought I'd do something a little different, and that is I'm going to demonstrate the multi-channel input on this with something you guys have never seen on the show before, and that is... Oh my God! Are those electronic drums? I got a video coming up on those real soon, but I figured, hey, this might be a good excuse to at least get them set up and connected, and we're going to try that, and we're going to try the reamping and see how that all fits together, and see how the HDA handles everything. Let's get to it. All right, already got my first gripe here. Just starting to get things connected. Got the HD8 up here, and I'm trying to get it down my Mac Studio here, and unfortunately, this USB cable that's included just is not long enough. Keep in mind, this is USB and not Thunderbolt, so longer cable runs shouldn't be a problem. At least that's what I'm expecting. Also, you know, it's 1/4 inch outputs here, and this is where I've got this wired into the console. It's just like a little bit more spacing on the 1/4 inch outputs would have been great, or a couple of XLRs would have been really great as well. I've seen that before, and just, like I said, it's just, I understand they got to cut costs and keep the cost down and whatnot, but I would very, very much like to see some slight improvements made here, because I'm just really worried how this is sitting here. These are kind of, you know, at a bit of an angle, and I wonder what kind of pressure that's putting on the circuit board, whether that's going to cause some issues down the road. Obviously, I could get some better cabling, but I mean, like, hey, I got a show I got to do. I got to get content out the door, so I don't have time to fuck around. Those fit fine on my other interfaces using 1/4 inch output, so a little spacing there would be greatly appreciated, especially if we want to get, you know, long-term usage out of this thing and not have to worry about breaking something. One more gripe, the power cable that they've included is definitely not long enough. I'm trying to get power from here to my power way down here, and yeah, I got some outlets here, and it just won't reach. This cable is not long enough. So guys, again, a longer power cable would be much appreciated for those of us who've got stuff everywhere. And we got power. It's not pretty, but it's up and running, and that's cool. I just need to get this wired in, get the drivers on, and get the software going, and hopefully start actually recording something at some point with it. That'd be really great. Again, it's a gigantic job. That's why I had the desktop set up for the little guy over here. This was just way easier to do. Connecting the big interface into this studio anyway is a bit more of a challenge because, again, I'm a console-oriented studio. This is definitely not your typical recording setup, that's for sure. And that's already connected and wired, so I'm just kind of figuring, okay, what am I actually going to hook up here? What am I actually going to use? And how am I going to do it? So right now, it looks like electronic drums and the reamping, and I'm going to have 2 mics going into this, maybe the monologue mic as well. No guarantees, but yeah, I just want to show how all this fits together. All right, yeah, we've got audio hooked up. Like I said, now I gotta pull a couple of cables out of the back of the console here and get them routed over the Quantum. I'm gonna do a re-up test, and then I'm gonna try hooking up the drum set. Big job, that's for sure. My back already hurts, so hopefully I can get through this and not want to die of a heart attack along the way. Here we go.
346 minutes later.
HD8's hooked up, we're ready to go for a re-up. So I got the Soldano fired up, and I think we got a signal in the other room. Yep. Okay, so now I've got the cabinet going in the other room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up auto gain here on channels 3 and 4. I've got that for the 640 Rex, the 2 different capsules. One's a dynamic, one's a condenser. It's like literally my favorite guitar mic ever. We've got Phantom on there, so I'm just going to set up auto gain there. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And we'll do the same thing with channel 4 here. Setting the auto gain. There we go. It's really that simple to set. That is really super cool. I want to see if this will do all 8 channels at the same time when I go to do the drum thing. But again, I've got the mic going into channel 1 here, so I didn't want to do that. Now, I'm just going to set up live monitoring here, see what we get. All right, what's wrong with this problem? Other than the tone is just a little bit on the bright side, I got to move the mic slightly. I don't have the Dynamount hooked up right yet, but I'm hearing a serious lack of gain. Oh, that's the mic gain there. Okay, so here's our mic gain, but on our outputs there, I don't see, where's the output for, oh, what is this? Out 9, 10. I am not seeing any output controls here. Everything's at 0 dBs. I'm not hearing that go where it's supposed to be in terms of gain. So that's kind of a weak signal there. That's disappointing, actually. Let me just move that mic ever so slightly. See that? Just need to move the mic slightly onto the cone a little bit more, just to kind of smooth out that top end a wee bit. Yeah, that's pretty good, but that's not kicking out the jams in terms of level. I don't know where the output control is for the reamp. I see returns, I see outputs, but I do not see reamp controls here. Now let's kick in an overdrive here and see what we get. So, gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed with the reamp. Here's the thing I've found over the years working with many reamping boxes is that the guys building it will set it for digital 0 and leave it, and then without realizing that a guitar direct signal is something extremely dynamic and needs more than 0 dBs as your peak. Yeah, I gotta give them a thumbs down for the reamp. Unfortunately, that's not quite strong enough. Sorry guys, yeah, I can definitely hear something lacking here. Once again, after working with so many of these things. It's a cool feature to include, but I think that needs to be improved by several orders of magnitude. I also really want to see a control for the reamp here on the main screen so we can maybe boost it up a little bit, because that's kind of weak, to be honest with you. If you're doing metal, you are definitely going to have to boost with an overdrive pedal, and I'd rather not boost with an overdrive pedal. I'd rather get the level right at the source, because the overdrive is going to affect the sound and blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of different trade-offs involved. Let me just put it this way. If I was mixing a client's record, or if I was working on a client's record, I have no problem tracking with this, but I would not be using the PreSonus to reamp with. Not on a paid project anyway. All right, this is where the fun begins. This is where I get to hook the drum set up to the HD8, and I've got this snake here. This is male XLR to stereo 1/4 inch, so this will be great. The problem is it's not very long, so I need to move a few things around, and hopefully I can get it to reach. I gotta thank Hosa for the hookup with all the cabling and stuff. That's really great. I forgot to have this kicking around. This is gonna come in real handy. I would definitely recommend picking one up if you're gonna plan on recording some live drums. But let's see if we can make this happen, and more importantly, let's see how this thing does with the auto gain function. I'm really curious to see how that's all going to work and how easy it will be to mix electronic drums in Reaper once we've got the HD8 all hooked up. Here we go. The big challenge here, as you know, if you're a drummer or whatnot, can you set the auto level and have it just do everything and work? Let's see what we get here. I'm going to hit the kit really badly. Keep in mind, I am the absolute worst drummer in the world, so I'm just going to do auto here, auto gain, select channel. I want all channels. That's pretty cool. We were able to select all the channels. Let's see how this does. Hey, there we go. I like the fact that I can hit this. I can see exactly what's going on there. Number 4 maybe looks a little bright. Let's see if I can bring that down a little bit. Yep, okay, cool. The fact that they have the dB numbered right on the hardware is huge. That's gonna save you all kinds of grief when it comes to setup. Okay, great. You know what? We've got a halfway decent drum mix just like that. I'm actually monitoring through Reaper, so I think that's a good plus there for PreSonus's drivers. That makes it pretty simple. But again, I am just the world's absolute worst drummer here, so don't expect much here. There we go. It really was that easy to set up once you actually get everything hooked up. I just gotta say, setting the overall kit up itself and setting up all the cameras and all the angles and all the other bullshit that goes along with this. Wow, that took a while. Getting the actual levels was super simple. I gotta give a massive thumbs up to PreSonus. You guys made that real easy. Basically gave me a very good jumping off point, and then just a couple little minor tweaks with stepped gain and 1 dB increments. Big plus there, by the way, guys. Man, when I was starting out, I would have absolutely absolutely loved something like that. So after working with these for the last couple of days, there's a couple things I don't like, but I don't think there's any kind of deal breakers, that's for sure. Price-wise, you really can't go wrong. The ES2 is only $249, and it's got built-in loopback, which is a big plus for streaming. Oddly enough, that I couldn't find the loopback feature on the HD8, which kind of surprised me. So yeah, I had to go with audio hijack. If there's a loopback feature in there, guys, it would be really cool if we could maybe document that and make that a little easier to find in the software. So far, that's my only gripe. At $9.99, you know, the HD8, there's a lot to like. I love the auto gain feature, especially for multi-output drums. That's really great. Our Tom 1 was a little quiet, but I was getting that on the unit as well. That needs to be dialed in a little bit more here, not with the PreSonus. That thing did fine. I got the levels under control really quick, and I was able to get a mix really quick as well. That's super cool. So if you're recording at home and you can't be everywhere at once, yeah, that thing can save you an awful lot of grief. My only gripe with it was the reamp output. I thought it was a little weak. In my experience, it isn't good enough just to get things up to level 0 with a reamp unit. You actually have to be able to add a little bit more. And that's what separates a good reamp unit from a great reamp unit. It'll do the job, but if you're doing metal tracks, you are definitely going to need to boost it in one way or another. Overall, though, I think PreSonus has got a couple of winners here. I would definitely not hesitate to use one of them in the studio on a client's project. What more do you need? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Software. Bundled software with the HD8 includes a 12-month subscription to the Studio One Plus suite and a perpetual Studio One Professional Edition. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. I don't know about you guys, but I like the idea of perpetual software license. The ES2 has a 6-month subscription to Studio One Plus. Go check it out. Links for everything are in the description below, and you can find them over at Sweetwater as well. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Now get out there and go make some great music.